Today I'm going to talk about using books to inspire you, and actually I'm going to share 9 books that are on my read all the time to keep me motivated and inspired. Hello. So I'm going to talk about tips for taking. Hello, Dale Majors here. Thank you for seeing another video. I'm glad you're here. Today I want to talk about a book that I've just been reading and why I read books and what books I would recommend that everyone kind of have on their nightstand. And for different reasons. 9 books specifically, but I just finished reading a book called The Climb by Anatoli Boukreev. And it's really the 3rd book about the Everest expeditions. It's a climbing book. And, you know, my favorite of all of them, of course, there's the one by the journalist called Everest. But my favorite of all of them is No Shortcuts to the Top by Viesturs. I just think it's so good. And the reason I read that book is because it just helps me be it motivates me to be more adventurous and to put myself out there and to do hard things, because these guys that do Everest are intense. And I don't want to do dangerous things like Everest. That's kind of crazy to me. And I have, young kids, and I just really don't feel that that's in the cards for me. And I don't want to. But I do want to be more adventurous and push myself more, just reach my limits a little more through maybe some ultra running or ultra distance type things, or just more exercise. So anyways, every time I read that book, it gets me more motivated for that. And I'm reminded that I need to have that book more on repeat. Last year I read 70 books around the self-help genre. And I'm realizing that while I find some good new things in books, I want to go back to the roots a little more, to my roots. So let me kind of tell you the books that I wrote down yesterday that are going to be on my repeat reading list. Okay. So first off, a book called How Will You Measure Your Life by Clayton Christensen. And it's amazing. It helps me. I want to read it more because it helps me put a longer term perspective on my life to make sure that I'm spending time doing the things that will help me become the person I want to be. Another book is Goals by Tracy. That's book 2. And I read that book because it kind of instills a lot of hope about, yes, if you want to go somewhere, make goals and then go get it. It's a good, quick read, 3-hour listen on Audible, and it makes me feel better every time I read it. Third is a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen. It really buttons up your time management processes and makes you more deliberate about how you spend your time. It's awesome. Another book 4, would be The Power of Habit, because it's a reminder to me that we really just do a lot of things out of habit, and that we can change all of those things, okay? Another book is a nutrition book, How Not to Die. That's book 5, and then book 6 would be The Obesity Code. And those 2 books, when I listen to them, they're kind of a reminder to me that I need to be more deliberate about what I eat, and about How Not to Die talks about the evils of really meat. I'm not a vegetarian, but I'm reminded that I do need to eat less meat and eat more vegetables. So it just talks about a lot of healthy diet things. I don't agree with everything in it, but I think it's a sound book. And then The Obesity Code, I love it because it basically says we should eat like our grandparents did, cut out all unnecessary sugar and all processed foods. And when I read that book, I'm more motivated to eat healthy. Talks about intermittent fasting and fasting for longer periods of time too. I did a 3-day fast a few months ago, and it was amazing. I'm going to be doing another one. I'll make a video about it. So those books, that's 5 and 6. I've talked about The Climb already, and No Shortcuts to the Top. That could be 7. No Shortcuts to the Top is really the recommended book that I would read. The Climb was okay. So No Shortcuts to the Top, like I mentioned before, it just helps me want to be more adventurous and get outside more and push myself to my limits a bit more. Book number 8 is, and you know, I think I really only meant 8 books. I put The Climb in there, The Climb or Everest, and I'm spacing the name of the author right now, and I'm not in front of my computer to grab it. And I don't want to cut the video. So it's all about the 1996, I believe, Everest expedition where a lot of people died. But No Shortcuts to the Top is absolutely my favorite. So for the last book, Man's Search for Meaning, it's by Viktor Frankl. He was a Jewish psychologist that was locked in Auschwitz, I believe. And he spent a lot of time in the prison camps and talks about that. There's a part in the book where he talks about needing to basically work for 12 hours a day, and if he looked weak, those are the people that get killed. And you know, I look weak after I don't eat food for 4 hours, or I look weak after I just look weak easy. And that book reminds me that, wow, we have so much more mind over matter. We have so much more potential than we may be getting out of ourselves. And I think a lot of us, we've just become soft. So when I read that book, it helps me develop more resolve. So all of these books help align with who I want to become. And I've talked before in another video about how when you read a book, it's almost as if you put the glasses or the perspective of the author on for your life. So you put that perspective on, and then you're looking at your life and you get ideas on different things you should change. And the reason you should read them regularly is because your life changes and your situation changes, and a lot of things are different. So by reading these books and choosing books that align with your philosophy, that's going to get you there. I'm remembering now, the last book was Driven by Larry H. Miller. He was an entrepreneur in Utah. He bought the Utah Jazz. He actually gifted it to the state through a foundation, so it never left the state. I guess he didn't give it to the state. But really incredible guy. And when I read his book, Driven, I feel a bit more motivated, and I want to become more like that. So those are the books. I'd love to hear what books you read to kind of motivate you and inspire you. Leave them in the comments. As always, like, subscribe, and thanks for being here. We will see you next time.